What's up, nation? Today let's talk about what retailers to keep your eye on this week for PS5 restocks and my speculation on when we'll be able to go into store and easily purchase this console. Alright everyone, so I wanted to make another quick PlayStation 5 stock update video today, and that is just simply because we saw so many retailers go live last week with stock drops, and a bunch more gamers were able to actually secure their consoles from the likes of Walmart, Target, and Best Buy, even Amazon going live last week. So I think that we're going to be more in the season of this console getting easier and easier to find. So I want to say which ones I personally am going to predict that will be dropping this week, and let's hope that with a couple of the pieces of information that we have, that you can be watching the right ones at the right time if you're still on the hunt for this console. The other thing I want to quickly speculate on with you guys is just my personal opinion, because I get this all the time in the comments, is when I think we will be able to easily go into a store and walk out with a console instead of having to be online watching for these retailers to drop randomly. So I want to share my thoughts with you guys on that as well. Before we do hop into all the details today, I just want to quickly invite you all to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. And by the way, guys, doing that will enter you into my PS5 giveaway that I'm completing at the end of January. That's this month, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that, guys, let's dive into the details. So we are now 3 months out since the PlayStation 5 has released, and it is still incredibly difficult to get your hands on this console. I know there's a lot of gamers who have already secured theirs successfully, but then there's a bunch that haven't been able to find one for a friend or a family member, or maybe their son or daughter, or whatever the case is. If they've gotten lucky enough to get one, they've probably only gotten one at this point. So I want to talk about today which ones we need to keep our eyes on if you still are on the hunt for this PlayStation 5, because now the major retailers seem to be getting that kind of January drought that we saw out of the way, because we saw so many stock drops at the end of last week, especially the big names like Walmart, Best Buy, and Target, and Amazon, and I think that that continues this week. Now, the nice thing I want to point out, and probably my number one pick to continue to keep your eyes on, is going to be both Walmart and Best Buy. The nice thing about Walmart this week is that we now know that they're still going to continue with the same trend that they've done up to this point, which is announcing that the stock will be live ahead of time, like about an hour or two ahead of the stock loading into the site. It'll tell you when it's going to drop. We saw that happen all throughout the holiday season, and then on this most recent drop we saw that happen again. So I think it makes a bunch of sense to be signed up for all of your Twitter notifications and all the accounts listed in my description. That's step number one, to follow all of those. But I think keep your eyes on Walmart, and then the great thing about them is you will for sure have a window of time where the links get tweeted out, and then you can actually go yourself and be in front of the computer at that designated time when you know to expect them to go live. Now, Best Buy, on the other hand, does not like to communicate their times on when they will drop. However, with Best Buy, you're typically ordering out of the store's inventory that's in your area, which is fantastic because that makes it just you versus your local area, not you versus the entire US. So I do think that they're another one, just because they're a big box electronic retailer, probably the biggest in the US, and I do think that they're going to absolutely get secondary waves of stock as we walk into the end of January here. And then as we get into the February and March months, hopefully we just continue to see them get more and more, so the initial demand is actually satisfied here. Now, Amazon is totally a wild card. They can always go live at any given moment, but we did see them go live last week with mainly disc-based versions, and that's causing some speculation online to think that maybe the digital versions that they will be releasing this week. So if you're on the hunt for digital specifically, make sure that you're ready to go with Amazon. It's always, as soon as it goes live, somebody tweets it out on one of the accounts that's in my description, then you just have to hop in there and try to purchase it as fast as possible. You have to be signed in on all of these major retailers' websites ahead of time. You have to already have your payment information. That's hopefully all tips that up to this point you guys have followed and already done, because I've recommended them many times in previous videos. So make sure, if you haven't already done that and you don't have yourself set to stay logged in, go ahead and double check that stuff first, because what you don't want to do is click on that Amazon link when it goes live and then not be signed in and ready to do the purchase, or have your shipping address wrong or something like that. So make sure all that stuff is taken care of ahead of time. Target is still getting more consoles. I think we even saw some Target drops happen maybe regionally last week, because it sounded like some people said they went live in their area, and other stores, people reported that there was no consoles that ever got loaded in. So I think Target's going to start moving to the point where they, have a bunch of consoles in their stores. They'll go live in certain areas. So I mean, they're always going to be a wild card from this point walking forward. But the great thing about them is, if you are lucky enough to secure a Target order, is that you can actually go get it that same day, because the reason we know that we're expecting another Target drop is just because of employee screenshots showing that there are continuing to receive consoles. But whenever you actually get that console, it's as simple as a 4-hour turnaround time when you're typically allowed to actually go pick it up. The thing about Target is they love to launch super early in the morning, so just be prepared for that. If you wake up early anyway, it's probably not a big inconvenience, but I do think we can definitely expect them to go live this week, if not next week at the latest at this point. So pretty much what I've talked about in previous videos is coming true. That is that we are going to see less and less communication from these major retailers on when they will get stock, and it's going to go more and more to just surprise drops. That's going to lead me to transition into my speculation portion of the video, which is when I think we'll be able to easily purchase these consoles. Just walk into a store like the good old days and just go ahead and purchase it there, cash or card, and walk out and go home and plug in your console. Now, I don't have a for sure solid information on this, but just based off of how we've seen console launches happen in the past, I would say we're still quite a ways out from being able to just walk in and purchase. I would think the earliest best case scenario is the end of March, early April range, that maybe they start to get finally caught up with the backlog of production. But when you look at the world as a whole, there is still so many people in the UK, Canada, and all these other major countries that haven't even had the opportunity to buy this console yet. So Sony, we have seen them shift a little bit of focus to doing international drops now, because I think you saw at the console launch, it was heavily focused on the US, and then once that stock started depleting, we saw this kind of gap week or two of January with no stock, and we were actually seeing drops overseas a lot. So I think they have to continue to do this worldwide. They obviously are going to be able to ramp up production and produce more of these faster now that they've been out for longer. But that said, there's still such high demand for this console that I think we're really, like I said, my most optimistic prediction is the end of March. We can maybe get lucky and be at a Walmart and you go to the electronics section and you see one sitting on the shelf. But I think past that, we're probably more realistically, I would say the June, July time frame is probably more of like when I think we will really start to be able to walk into stores and just purchase these things. I mean, if you guys remember the Nintendo Wii when it came out, and it was like the hot item that everybody wanted, which I don't think PS5 is quite that high demand, just because the Nintendo Wii was really unique with how it actually targeted like an anybody crowd with the motion controls. So you had like grandparents and parents that normally wouldn't game themselves actually gaming on the Wii. But with a console like that, it was about a year to a year and a half before Nintendo could actually completely like catch up to where you could actually go easily find a Wii. I personally remember standing in line at a Toys R Us to go ahead and secure mine, but that was nice because you could at least line up and get one if you really wanted it early in the morning. But now we're not in that environment right now, obviously with the pandemic, so we'll see what happens. But summer is most likely, as far as my prediction, to be able to walk in and easily purchase a PS5, and then best case scenario would be like the end of Q1, like March, end of March, in that kind of time range. So hopefully that answers anybody's questions that was asking that in the comments about when I'm personally predicting that we'll be able to pick this thing up. But if you are still on the hunt, you're probably tired and you're probably done trying to get it at this point. But hopefully from here on out, it's just easier and easier. So just continue to stay plugged into all your favorite news sources, and hopefully you can secure your console sooner rather than later. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all to leave me a comment. Let me know where you're at with your hunt on the PS5, and then also let me know if you're just hunting for yourself or a friend or a family member, and which games you're most excited to play once you do successfully secure this console. And then guys, before we do end the video, I just want to quickly invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.